So in this video, we're going to be talking about geometric sequences, and we're going to be focusing on pages 11 through 14. Okay. So in class, we've been going over geometric sequences, which remember is multiplying patterns. We usually don't say divide, even though some of them do go down. That just means the pattern is a fraction or a decimal less than 1, essentially. Okay. So just keep in mind you're always multiplying, but sometimes the ratio can be a fraction or decimal less than 1. So this is a geometric sequence equation. This is the explicit form, not explicit form, this is the recursive form, sorry. Brain fart. So this is the recursive form. The explicit form will essentially be just to the n power, okay? It will not be n minus 1. The n minus 1 means you're taking the previous term and you're going to be multiplying it, okay? So the a here is our first term, okay? Not the first term, sorry, the zero term. You always start with 0. Use the word 0, 0 term, okay? R is our ratio. Essentially, that's your pattern, okay? And n is the term number. Okay, so we're going to be looking at this specific pattern right here, and then just like in the previous video, we'll graph it so you can see what it looks like. So our sequence is 1.5 times 3, 1.5, then 3, then 6, and 12, and so forth, okay? So I'm going to just say that 1.5, let's just say that is our zero term here. Again, it will tell you if you're given the zero term or not, especially in the workbook, they'll tell you. If they don't tell you, then assuming that you don't have the zero term, okay? So let's figure out, all right, what is our pattern? So some people might not understand 1.5 to 3. Okay, that's fine. So let's look at 3 to 6. So remember, we're doing geometric, so we're multiplying. 3 times what is 6? Now let's just say I did not know. How would I figure that out? I would divide. And remember, you always take the second number divided by the first number. So 6 divided by 3 is 2. 3 divided by 1.5 is 2. 12 divided by 6 is 2. So our ratio is 2. Okay. So remember, we're going to use f of n. F of n. Yes, I know that has an x there. Ignore it. 3 and n equals. So my zero term we're going to start with is 1.5. Okay. And we're going to be multiplying. So parentheses when you multiply. Our ratio we found out was timesing by 2. So we're going to put 2 here. And then we use exponent. So when you use exponents, and like if you're writing it out like this, I would use the little caret key. Yes, so I know it's an exponent. And I'm just going to put the letter n for the term number. So our rule is 1.5 times 2 to the power of n, and n is any number we want. So let's look at, to make sure what this looks like as a graph before we do these two things right here. Okay, so I'm going to, remember, only use Desmos. Don't use f of n, use f of x because it doesn't like anything but x and y. So f of x equals 1.5, and I'm going to use parentheses, 2 to caret key x. So you can see here is our equation. Now this one is a curve. In arithmetic sequences, it was a straight line. So that's something to think about when we start comparing arithmetic and geometric sequences. All right, now let's make sure our values from the problem match up to our graph to make sure we did it right. Remember, we're going to do a table, so plus and then table. We're going to do 0, 1.5. All right, zero term is 1.5. Then we're going to do 1 is 3, 2 is 6, 3 is 12. Okay, and you can see here our points do line up on our curve, so we do know we have the correct equation for these values. All right, so now we want to figure out the 6th and the 10th term. Now remember, from arithmetic sequences, we can just plug it in, and then you can use your Desmos calculator to do that. Okay, so sorry, my headphone keeps falling. So I'm going to do the 6th term. So I'm going to do 1.5 times 2 to caret key 6. So that's 96. So my 6th term is 96. Sorry. Okay, 96. Okay, and now I'm going to do the 10th term. So I'm going to do 1.5 times 2 to the 10th power, and that is 1,536. Okay, 1,536. All right, and I remember I want to have a graph so I can remember what the graph looks like. So I'm going to just get this away, and I'm going to remember on Desmos, go to share graph. You're going to export it, and you're going to download the PNG. Okay, and then go back to my notebook, and I'm going to hit insert, hit image, upload for computer, and I want this one. And I'm just going to shrink it down. Oops. Okay. Shrink it down a little more. There we go. And now I have my graph. And you can see here, it's a curve. Okay. So the second page is the same thing as the page we did for arithmetic sequences. So on this problem, guys, you can assume that the first number is your zero term. Okay. Just go with that. So A is zero term, and then find your pattern for your ratio, write the equation, and then find the 8th and the 10th term. So let's look here. So our A is -2. Okay. Oops. -2. So we're just going to make it just for easy purposes. This will be our zero term. Okay, if we did not know what our zero term was, we would just reverse it and go backwards, another one, okay? So our ratio, we need to figure out what are we doing? So we know it's geometric, so we're going to divide. So take the second term, which is the second number here is 4. 4 divided by -2 is -2. So my ratio is -2. If this was not our zero term, let's say it was our first term, we would do -2 divided by -2, and that would be our zero term. But just go with that to be your zero term, just for simple purposes. All right, so our rule, okay, is f of n, f of n equals, and then our zero term is -2, parentheses, our ratio is also -2, and then we're going to do caret key n. So there's our rule. Now I'm going to use Desmos to figure out our 8th and 10th term. Okay, so I'm just going to clear all this out. So -2, oops, there we go, -2, parentheses, -2. Oh, I don't want to subscribe. There we go. Sorry. Caret key, and I'm going to put the 8th term. So that's -512. Make sure you put the negative sign. It is important. So -512. Now let's do the 10th term. So instead of the 8 as the exponent, I'm going to put 10 as the exponent. And that's -2048. Again, don't forget the negative sign. So -2048. All right. Oh, 48, not 49. All right, so you're going to do the same things for these. Remember, if it's going down, that's okay. That just means your ratio will be a fraction or a decimal, whichever one you choose to use. All right, so finish up these notes right here, and I will talk to you guys on another video. Bye.